Well, folks, it looks like the camera bug has got me again. I shot a whole bunch of video of this sanding of the flight deck, and there's no audio on any of it. So you're going to have to put up with a little background music and listening to me rattle on and on and on. I'm sorry. I won't be able to tell you too much exciting news or information about what's going on here. This is 100% pure grunt work. You've seen me do it before. I've sped this up dramatically to get us through it as quickly and as humanely as possible. So bear with me. So one of the major jobs that we want to get done as soon and as quickly as possible is to lay another layer of fiberglass on the main cabin roof. We're going to use a 10-ounce plain weed fiberglass this time, and when I was up here sanding the flight deck, that I call it, it's not really as smooth as I thought it was, so there's going to be quite a bit of sanding and fairing involved. This is probably the only time that you'll see sanding until hopefully never. Once we'll film actually putting the fiberglass on, that's going to be a pretty big project on its own. The main cabin roof is 18.5 feet long and just a little over 8 feet wide. It's approximately 144 square feet in total, given the shape. I'm going to cue in the music now, and we'll just let this run. It goes on for quite a while. I don't really care if you skip over it, but we'll be back at the end with a few more little messages. where the layers of fiberglass overlap, there's a pretty pronounced seam, and I'm going to try and fair that out. This is System 3 QuikFair. This is a really good fairing compound. This is the last of what I have at this point in time, so I'm going to use up it, and I'm going to have to switch over to the polyester filler that I used before, and you'll see that a little later in the video. This is the polyester filler. I used it a lot on the foredeck, and it became problematic at times. It's very light. You can see it's noticeably a different color. It's easy to get bubbles whipped up into it. You can overwork it really easy, and I really don't like it, but sometimes you just got to use what you got on hand to get the job done. This little section here at the end, this was captured on the boat shed security camera, and didn't turn out too bad, so I thought I'd use it. It just illustrates some of the boat calisthenics that I go to trying to get this work done. And in this particular instance, I had kind of a bad day. If you look on my butt, yep, I sat right in the wet epoxy. So until next time, thanks everybody. From Lori and I, we hope you're all happy, well, and safe. Cheers.